Hello! I cannot believe it's the last week of January. We are about a month out from the Supreme Court ruling on student loans. I wanted to share some news. The public opinion request has been out about 10 days now, and there's been about 2,000 public comments left on Biden's new federal student loan program. I know. For those who noticed, I did cut off a lot of my hair this past weekend. Sidebar, side note there. So yeah, I'm loving the shorter hair look. Let me know what you think. Do you like it too? Anyways, outside of our normal content topic, but essentially, 2,000 comments have been posted. Love to talk about that, as well as the situation with updates to this lawsuit that's going on with what got the case essentially to be heard by the Supreme Court. There's an update on that. And then I do want to put out some news on Congress acting around emergency and student loan savings. So bits and snips of news that I hope will be helpful to those that care about what's happening in the student loan world, as well as what's happening in, if you're a student loan borrower, financial health tips and tricks for student loan borrowers. Those are content and topics I tend to cover. So if you like these types of topics, please like and subscribe to this channel so you can hear more. We release videos on a weekly basis on Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on how long it takes me to research and find these topics. But essentially, we release 1 to 2 videos on Tuesday or Wednesday. So that's how this channel works. So first and foremost, let me go into the 2,000 comments that have been posted. I'm going to read snippets. So essentially, some conservative think tank action group went out and posted this templated letter to get people to essentially post in the Federal Register that is open for 30 days. So by the way, I will link it below in this video, the Federal Register, so you can comment if you believe that revamping and reimagining the way that the federal government manages student loans through an income-driven repayment program, that is what the Register is about. Please make your support for this new program, which it's a program that already exists. It's called Revised Pay As You Earn. But essentially what it's doing is it's streamlining the income-driven repayment plans to essentially merge under this plan. It's called Revised Pay As You Earn. And to simplify it, to reduce the growing balances by borrowers, it will also make the number of years that a borrower pays, this is what's being suggested right now, be based on how much the borrower originated. So, of course, you can still qualify for public service loan forgiveness, but if you're a private sector employee and you originated over $12,000, then if you originate under $12,000, it's 10 years repayment. If you originate for every $1,000, it's 1 extra year up to a limit of 20 years max, unless you have graduate school debt, in which it's 25 years. So that's what he's proposing, but it will make payments about less than half actually. And if a borrower earns under about $33,000, then they will have a $0 payment. So of course, that's just an overview of the current legislation being proposed right now. For those who missed last week's video, you can get a full debrief on the program and the plan with more details in last week's video. But that's just a snippet overview, so you know when I tell you what these 2,000 commenters are stating, you understand what I'm referring to. But essentially, I'm looking at my screen right now, my computer screen. It's like, my name is blank. I'm writing to oppose this legislation to cancel student debt. It's really interesting. This regulation is extremely reckless as it is economically unstable, totally unjust, and completely illegal, and would only worsen the problems it claims to fix. It continues. This student debt cancellation is fundamentally unjust to anyone who chose not to attend college because of its cost, those who worked their way through college to avoid debt, and those who paid off their debt as they promised. It says much more. Other issues with this rule includes the government loses $20 billion in missed payments and another $5 billion in accrued interest every month that the pause on student loan continues, worsening the national debt crisis. Canceling student loans disproportionately benefits the wealthy, as 56% of student debt is held by households whose borrowers earn a graduate degree. Biden's cancellation of student loan debt is deeply unconstitutional because it illegally takes power given to Congress and places it in the executive branch. This rule tempts the people with short-term benefits that will cause great long-term consequences. It should repeal entirely. So I just read literally the template that's getting submitted by about 2,000 commenters. So it's interesting because just to be clear, this proposed ruling is to rewrite how income-driven repayment works. Income-driven repayment has been around since the end of the 1990s, early 2000s. This is not commenting on the $10,000 to $20,000 of forgiveness. I want to be very clear. This is not an outright cancellation of student loan debt. This is revamping how a borrower with low to moderate income can afford their payments. This is very different than an outright cancellation, okay? I just want to make it very clear. Revamping how much a borrower has to pay to make it more affordable and accessible, especially if they're earning under a minimum viable wage to live. That is what this program is doing, and that is who it most targets to address. Borrowers who earn over $100,000 will actually have their payments increase. So it's helping you either pay on a standard 10-year plan, or you benefit from the program when your income goes down or you don't have a job, and as your income goes up, you pay more. I mean, it's actually a more fair way to have people pay, as well as takes the risk of default out of the equation as long as people file into these programs, and they should have an affordable and manageable payment with a possibility of getting forgiveness year over year, which is also a great aspect of this program. So I just want to give full context that I support legislation that simplifies, streamlines, and makes student loans more manageable for everyday Americans. That is my stance. Straight out, that is my stance. What is the point of, if someone defaults on their student loan, the government will have to forgive that loan over time anyways, right? And the consequences are so severe if a student loan borrower defaults with like 17.92% fees. You get chased by debt collectors. There's salary garnishment, wage garnishment. It is treated more harshly than any other form of debt, which does not make sense because, education is your only way if you come from a low resource family to move up the economic ladder. And why are we making it so burdensome, right? So I want to make my stance very clear. If you've been following me, you know that's my stance, but I just want to put it out there straightforward and clear. So for me, I am going to write a template. This makes me want to call to action. I will write a template. And I would love followers of this channel to go to the Federal Register and upload my template, which you can read and you can edit based on whether you agree or not, but it will be an educational overview of why we support the program, but also what are legitimate concerns and changes that need to be made to the program that the Department of Ed is actually talking about, not the $10,000 to $20,000 of forgiveness, but the actual revised pay-as-you-earn program. What needs to be rewritten about it? I have frank and strong opinions about that. And if you agree, you could just submit my template. But essentially, I agree with the way the new payment is calculated, right? I don't agree with the moving number of years a borrower needs to repay. It's hard enough for someone to know with a fixed payment plan how many more months they have to pay, let alone if you make all these moving deadlines and moving number of years you have to pay. How are we supposed to keep track of that. That to me is impossible. I fully support forgiving balances year over year, so borrowers do not have to hold on to a growing student loan balance. That is a huge error in the way the program currently is now, because if your balance grows, even though you're on the track to loan forgiveness, you literally could get disqualified from buying a home because they look at that growing balance and lenders will take 1% of it. Even if you don't have to pay it, it's going to get discharged. They count 1% of that balance sometimes, especially if the loan officer doesn't know what they're doing. Let's say you're on the pathway to get $300,000 of student loans forgiven because you work in the medical industry and you got your master's or whatnot, and you have $300,000 of debt and you're on your pathway to get it forgiven, but you go to a lender and they say, well, we have to count 1%. That's $3,000. And unless you're earning like $300,000, I mean, that would be very, very challenging to actually be able to buy a home. And what I've heard today from a Gen Zer, actually, she said to me, I make a $2,000 rent payment, but they won't let me take out a $2,000 mortgage because of my student debt. She said that I can't take out a $2,000 mortgage, full in mortgage with taxes, insurance, etc., but I can pay $2,000 in rent and no one has an issue with that. And it's all because of my student debt. I have too much debt. They won't let me buy. And she was very frustrated by the fact that she felt that her generation is getting slammed with really high rising rent and making it impossible to save for a down payment or harder to save for a down payment. And then on top of it, after they do save, being told up too much student debt. So it's like, when can we buy? What do we do? Right? So I just want to say, I agree with you. And I will make a public Google Doc that anyone can access as a template that you can copy to support this federal registry. I call you, please. I call all my viewers, please spread this word. If we do want the student loan programs to change for the better of actual borrowers who have debt, instead of conservative think tanks who probably do not have student debt, we need to also get 2,000 comments in support of the program with actual, tangible, educated suggestions on how to change the program for the better of borrowers. And that is what I stand for. So join my movement, support our movement to get more positive comments on the Federal Register that are actually relevant, okay? And other really brief news that I wanted to touch super, super, super briefly is I want to... Oh, the state of Arizona elected a new attorney general, and that attorney general canceled or reneged, so to say, the lawsuit of the 6 conservative states who are challenging Biden's student loan relief. So I wonder if we can get a few more states to back out. But it does not matter because the lawsuit is going to happen on February. I'm sorry, not the lawsuit. The Supreme Court case will be happening on February 28th. We will be covering it. I will probably be listening to the whole thing because I want to see what the arguments are. And the likely 3 things that this lawsuit will likely consider is, do the plaintiffs have merit in complaining or merit in filing the lawsuit? That's number 1. So do they, are they legitimized in their complaint? Like saying my state is going to lose tax revenue. Is that a legitimate complaint? Does that plaintiff have a legitimate standing by saying my state will lose tax revenue? Does that make them is that an adequate reason to be a plaintiff in this case? Number 1. Number 2, does the president the second thing is, does the president have the power to cancel student debt, right? He is using the HEROES Act of 2003, which was passed after 9/11, to help with all the national emergency response to 9/11. Can that legal argument stand as a reason for executive branch cancellation of student debt as an emergency due to COVID? We'll see. And then third, did Congress permit such an action? Like, does the Supreme Court will have to examine, right? Is this something that needs to be supported by Congress. Like, can this law be passed on to Congress, and Congress has to mandate it? So we will see. Those are the three major questions the Supreme Court will be examining on February 28th. So with that being said, please, for all other advocates out there of reforming student loan programs for good, please share this video. Please share my template to upload at the Federal Register. Literally, I will dictate the site of the Federal Register right here so you all know where to go. It is, I'm going to it now so I don't tell you the wrong site. It is federalregister.gov. Federalregister.gov. Let me make sure that is the site we can state our comments on. Federalregister.gov. And you can search in the bar IDR student loans. That's how you look at the legislation in place. And yeah, you search IDR student loans, okay? I will, in fact, I'm going to link a direct link to the actual law, a summary of the law. And it's called the Proposed Rule. And it was published on January 11th of this year. It ends in 17 days. So it's been available now for 13 days. And there's only been 2,980 views as of today at 2:15. So that's a lot of views happening here. Enhanced content. I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong, a place that you can they actually will take comments. I should put it is actually regulations.gov. So I gave you the wrong, where we're actually going to make comments is regulation.gov, okay? And regulations.gov. I will post it. I'm typing as I'm searching. Regulations.gov. You're still going to type IDR student loans, and that is where IDR student loans, and the link that comes up will be all this supporting doc. Oh my gosh, a lot. Okay. There's a lot of different links, but you're going to go to something called Proposed Rule, Improving Income-Driven Repayment for William D. Ford Federal Direct Loan Program. Okay. You can click the comment button and literally copy, cut, and paste my template in support of the program. This would really help if you want actual tangible way to impact policy and how things turn out for us, like taking our own power back, taking control of our situation as student loan borrowers. Please go and comment and support of the program with tangible changes that I will outline in a template. Thank you all for following. Please share this with friends and family. So if they're in support or they're student loan borrowers who can benefit from the program, please share this with them so they can go on and comment as well. Our voice matters. If you're not at the table, you are likely to be on the menu. So we don't want to be on the menu. We want to be at the table. So thank you all for listening to me rant and rave for the last 17 minutes or so. Again, please share, like, and do not be selfish with this content or hoarding it. Again, we can help you if you have any student loan questions at myloansense.com. Thank you. Have a great day.